What is up, guys? It is Luke, and today I have a interestingly complicated method that could potentially fix the college football playoff. Now, this is the original top 10 because I'm going to be going off the original top 10 because you couldn't really do this formula with any other team outside of the top 10 because A, they couldn't really make a jump into the playoffs because that would be a little bit ridiculous because it was a top 4 playoff, and the fact that there could be teams with more top 25 wins on their schedule than non-top 25 wins. So, yeah. Now, there's really only one big flaw in this that could potentially skewer the whole thing, is that if a team goes on a big run like Auburn did where they beat a bunch of top 25 teams, or a few top 25 teams, but don't have that many, or don't have a ton of wins on their schedule, then it could potentially skewer the results, as the ratio that I'm using could potentially be higher than other ratios, just judging off the fact that they have less games won and more top 25 games won. Now bear with me here because this can be a really complicated formula at times. But I like this type of math, especially when it's not difficult and when it's related to sports, to help me find something to back up a point or to make something cool like this method. Now the formula I'm going to be using is top 25 wins over total win-to-loss ratio. So if you have 11 wins and no losses, then your ratio would be plus 11. But if you have 0 wins and 10 losses, then you would have a negative 10 ratio. Or, let's say, 11 wins, 3 losses, then you would have a plus 8 ratio. Kind of simple like that when you really think about it. Then you would subtract that from top 25 wins, so you would most of the time get a negative number unless you just have some oddball team or oddball schedule. When you get done with that little fraction over there, then you add the average point differential, and you come out with a number, and that number, 1 through 10, you will rank the 1 through 10 teams by the higher the number. So the higher the number, the higher you will get ranked. It also means that the more points you score and the less points you allow over total wins and strength of schedule, which seems to matter the most nowadays. Not even conference championships matters a lot, but the strength of schedule matters a lot nowadays, it seems. So now let's go ahead and get into working out this formula with the teams. So let's look at the original top 10. Clemson was number 1, and they had 6 top 25 wins and a plus 11 win-to-loss ratio. They also had an average win differential or point differential of plus 22, which means that they would come out with a point total of 17 points. Oklahoma was number 2. They had 4 top 25 wins and a plus 11 win-to-loss ratio, plus a average point differential of plus 20. They would come out with 13. Georgia was almost the exact same, except they had 1 less top 25 win, but 1 more point on the average point differential, so they would have 13 also. Now here's a doozy. Alabama only had 3 top 25 wins and just a modest 10 win-to-loss ratio, but get this, they had a plus 27 average point differential, helped out by the 59-0 win at Vanderbilt and the 66-3 win at home versus Ole Miss. They'll come out with a whopping 20 points. Ohio State was number 5. They had 3 top 25 wins and a 9 total win-to-loss ratio. Add 22 to that, you get 16, which is pretty good. Wisconsin was number 7. They only had 2 top 25 wins, but they did have an 11 win-to-loss ratio at 20 average point differential, and they had 11 points. Now here's what I was talking about earlier in the video about how this could have a flaw in the system. Auburn only had a 7 win-to-loss ratio, but they had 3 top 25 wins, which means they would have -4, which is a higher number than most of the teams on this list. Add 17 and you come up with 13, which is the same as Oklahoma and Georgia. USC had 3 top 25 wins and a 9 win-to-loss ratio, but their average point differential was a bumbling 8. So they would come out with just 2 points, 18 less than Alabama. Here's Penn State. Penn State only had 1 top 25 win and an 8 win-to-loss ratio, but they had a 26 average point differential, which was amazing, which was only 1 behind Alabama. Also 1 behind Alabama was their total point that they come out with, 19. Now Miami's last on this list. They had 2 top 25 wins with a win-to-loss ratio of 8, but they only had an average point differential of +9, which means that they would come out with just 3, 1 above USC. Now on the left here is the original top 10, but now I'm going to show you the new top 10. Coming in at number 1 is Alabama, 2 Penn State, 3 Clemson, 4 Ohio State, 5 Oklahoma, 6 Auburn, 7 Georgia, 8 Wisconsin, and then far behind Wisconsin and the rest of them were Miami and USC with 3 and 2 respectively. Now, I'm fixing the playoff format as of now, so I'm not moving the number of teams in the bracket, so it'll stay at 4. The matchups would be Alabama versus Ohio State in the 1-4 matchup, and Penn State versus Clemson in the 2-3 matchup. I think this is a really interesting formula. It's very complicated, but it was fun to make. It took a while for me to do, especially getting the average point differential, because I like going the extra mile, and I don't like looking stuff up or getting stats on my own. Guys, let me know what you thought of this formula. I love it. I think it's going to be a great formula. I will use this for further years, but I'm sure the committee wouldn't even pay attention. I'm sure probably not even 20 people will watch this video in the first week. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and God bless.